Hey Stephen, how's it going? Rick, good to see you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to both of you. Stephen, I bet your life's fixing to get a lot easier now that all those holidays are over with, ain't it? We'll let a few more get on here maybe, and then we'll get it rolling. Slowly. Happy New Year, Mark. Good to see you. Sorry I didn't get to chime in last week. Me and my wife, we decided to take an impromptu trip up to Tennessee and visit with some family up there. I've got some family up there. That's where I was born, and it was good to get up there in the mountains and see them. So anytime you can get a chance to spend time with family, that's what you need to do. I agree with you, Stephen. But I hope all y'all had a good evening. Happy New Year, Mike. Hope all of y'all had a good New Year, a safe New Year, and I hope y'all got to spend some time with family as well. I had a great time up there in Tennessee, and it was good to get away a little bit, and now it's back to the grind tomorrow. The Christmas holidays are over, and now we're headed back to work starting tomorrow, so the party's over, as they say, but we got to get back to it somehow. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate that. We'll go ahead and get right into it. First of all, like I said, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody had a safe New Year and good Christmas and all that stuff. Like I said, I took a trip to Tennessee and saw some of my family up there, and man, it was really good to get up there. Hopefully in a couple of years we'll be able to maybe do a little moving up toward that way. I kind of missed it up that way, and so that's where I was born and everything, and so maybe we can get back up that way pretty soon. Y'all let me know what y'all cooked over the holidays, Christmas and New Year's. We didn't cook a whole lot for Christmas, but man, my brother, he came and for New Year's. And anytime he comes, he's one of those, I tell him, he don't need to bring a whole lot. And he's going to show up with a truckload. And this year was no different. I was cooking, I had 2 Boston butts. I'll tell you how I had it set up. And I almost did a live stream of that. And you know how time gets away from you sometimes and you don't think about it, but I had 2 Boston butts going. I had one on the Grilla Silverbac Pellet Smoker, and I seasoned it with Meat Church Honey Hog and the Fire and Flame coffee rub. And I scored the fat cap and kept it fat cap up. And then I had the other Boston butt. Both of them were about 8.5 pounds. I did the other Boston butt, scored the fat cap, put it fat cap down on the pit barrel cooker, and I seasoned it with the pit barrel cooker rub and the Fire and Flavor coffee rub. If y'all haven't tried that Fire and Flavor coffee rub, they sell it at Lowe's. I'm sure they sell it at other places too, but y'all need to check that out. It's a coffee rub, but you can really smell and taste some cinnamon in it too. It's a really good coffee rub. Pozole for New Year's. That sounds good too, though. That sounds really good. Mark did a couple Boston butts and bacon. Yeah, Randall Mac, my buddy Mac, he was here with us, and so I had that. I had 2 Boston butts. I had some jalapeno poppers. Mac's always a fan of the poppers. And my brother shows up, and he's got, I think, 16 turkey legs to throw in the smoker. I also had that Traeger ironwood out there. and we fired it up, and we had 16 or 18 turkey legs. We had 4 pounds of bacon, meatballs. We smoked meatballs in a strawberry fig jam, kind of made a glaze with that. We had bacon wrapped asparagus and portobello mushrooms. Those turned out really good. We had sausage, 2-3 pounds of sausage. I mean, we had enough. You'd have thought we had 100 people here, and we had about 10 or 12 maybe. But we had a good time, and I got a ton of leftovers. I put some in the freezer even. So yeah, and beer and a Jaeger in the Jaeger dispenser. So, but it turned out really good, you know. Again, you know, just spending time with family and friends, and being safe, and not being a knucklehead on that, you know, New Year's Eve. Steven said New Year's Day we had burgers, collard greens with smoked ham hocks, mac and cheese, fried smoked jowls, black-eyed peas. Yeah, my mother-in-law, she does the black-eyed peas and the greens and all that stuff. She came over, and I think all the guys pretty much stayed out there by the grills and by the fire pit, and all the ladies, they were in here playing cards and having a big time in here, so it turned out really good. It definitely was a feast. It definitely was a feast. But you know, that's what it's all about. You know, another excuse to break out the grills, break out the charcoal, the wood or pellets or whatever you cook on, and fire them up. So, good evening, John. Good evening. So, y'all, you know, if y'all have anything else that y'all cooked, let me know what y'all cooked. Let me know what grills y'all used. If you cooked it in the oven, that's okay too. I hope it is for you too, Justin. I appreciate that. I think it's going to be a good year. I really do. Also, let me know, whatever y'all cooked, let me know what kind of rubs y'all used. My brother, he left me with a whole bag of a coffee rub that I'm going to try to start using. And like I say, I got that coffee rub again from Fire and Flavor, and that stuff is outstanding. But I like that. Daniel, what kind of stick burner you got? That's the next one, kind of grill that I want to get. But that Fire and Flavor coffee rub is really good. I also like that Meat Church, that honey hog, man. That stuff is hard to beat. I could eat it with a spoon. Stephen cooked on the Silverbac Yoder Wise 480 and a loaded Wichita. I hear you. Those Wichitas are nice. Yeah, my brother had some duck grease, duck fat spray. Basically, it was duck fat in a spray can, and we coated one of the Boston butt that was in the pit barrel cooker. We coated it on top a couple times with that duck fat grease. Man, that stuff was awesome. It's expensive, but it was awesome. Mike, this is Mike wants to know what I got to drink. Actually, not a whole lot of anything exciting. This is my keto coffee, and so I kind of felt like a little coffee night tonight, so I just made me a little keto coffee. And that's good. Code 3 spices, sweet and zesty on poppers. I've never heard of that, Code 3. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna write that down. Code 3. I'll tell you, somebody else that's got really good rubs is Reload Rubs. They've got, I think they've only got 3 right now, but they're pretty good. And still one of my favorites is Tango Joe over at Tango Spice Company. They've got a really good spices too. chicken wings on the Weber kettle, jalapeno poppers. I love doing those jalapeno poppers. This year I just did your basic jalapeno popper, you know, but I had a little bit of pit barrel cooker seasoning left, so I put that on the cream cheese and then wrapped it and then dusted it with a little honey hog. They turned out really good. Those poppers are one of the things. Now there's two ways you do them, you know. You can just keep that popper whole and just hollow it out and stuff it in there. But I kind of like cutting them in half a little better, like little boats, and doing them that way. But that's one of those things that they're a little time consuming, but they're worth it in the end, you know. I've almost thought about a couple times doing them, you know, like the night before ahead of time, but I didn't know how they would hold up, you know, overnight or anything, so I've kind of always done them at the moment. Yeah, those meat church rubs are outstanding. There's only one that I hadn't really cared for a whole lot, and that's that D's Nuts pecan rub. It's got a little weird, it's a little weird, but I like the rest of them. Their fajita seasoning is really good as well. Lifetime Smoker from Texas. I'm gonna have to check that out. Lifetime Smoker. But yeah, we had a good time, and it was good too. I was glad my brother came because we had not seen each other since Christmas, and so I got his Christmas present in, and I ordered him a Watchman Stove, and so I had it put together and set up over there in the corner, and he was really excited about getting that thing, and I was excited about him getting it, and I think I was just as excited as he was. But I want to give Ben and Josh, Ben especially up there at Watchman Stove and Winchester Metals, for helping me out with that deal and helping me get it down here before New Year's, and so I appreciate that. Those are good guys. Like I say, if y'all want something different that you don't see every day in any of the stores, you know, look up Watchman Stove and check them out. They're good folks, and it's a good quality product, and it's fun to mess around with. But he enjoyed that. Famous Dave's Rib Rub. Veterans Q. Yeah, Stephen, I've been wanting to check them out. And I did a little bit of reading on them the other day, and you're right. From what I understand, it's made by veterans, and from what I read, all the proceeds go to like veterans organizations and stuff like that. And so, if nothing else, it's going to be towards, you know, going towards something good, a good. That's a good deal there. So, have you tried, Stephen? Have you tried those products? And if so, you know, what do they taste like? The sauces and all that stuff. But I'd like to give those a try, if nothing else, just because it's a good cause. You know, they seem like pretty good people. But I have seen that. I really follow them more on Instagram than anything. But and yeah, if y'all hadn't checked me out on Instagram, you know, Jus Piddlin Barbecue, I mainly just post pictures and stuff like that on there, but you know, it might be some stuff that I'm not including in the videos or whatever, so y'all check that out over on Instagram too. I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, Lone Star Grills. Yeah, my buddy Russ over at Smoky Ribs, he's got one of those Lone Star Grills, I think, and two of them. He's got two of them actually, and those really look good. They look like, you know, Yoder Wichita quality offsets. That's right, Stephen. I remember you saying something about that, about the diabetes and all that, and I haven't had any experience with smoking at smokers personally, so I can't really speak towards those. Um, Mike just said he checked it out. Donate 100% after cost to veteran organizations. That's awesome. That is awesome. So, you know, anybody out there that's looking for some more rubs or sauces, you know, give them a check. Matter of fact, I'm gonna, after this, if I don't do it tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm gonna reach out to them and give me an order and give them a shout out on my next video or two using their rubs, just because that's a good, you know, that's a good cause. But yeah, Stephen, I forgot about that. You mentioning that, and my aunt and uncle up in Tennessee, they have diabetes as well, and so, you know, we go up there and this keto stuff, you know, that's one of the things about it is it tries to keep your blood sugar down and tries to keep it in check and tries to keep your insulin level from spiking, you know, by cutting out all these sugars and carbs and all that stuff. And so, you know, like this coffee right here, there's no sugar at all in this. It's just, I'll do a video on it, but it's just 2 tablespoons of Kerrygold butter, a tablespoon of coconut oil, 2 cups of hot coffee, a scoop of vanilla protein powder, and a little dash of cinnamon. You just blend it up in the blender, and you can still see it gets real frothy on top. And if you've ever had like a Dunkaccino at Dunkin' Donuts, well, that's exactly what this tastes like, except there's no sugar in this. There might be a gram or 2 from the protein powder, but a lot less than what it would be if you know, if I was using sugar in my coffee. Now I don't even have to use sugar at all in my coffee anymore. It's amazing how after you quit eating sugar, because we eat so much sugar that it's like we forget what sweet is anymore. And now that I don't eat sugar anymore, if I do taste something sweet, I mean, it doesn't take much at all, and it's really sweet. And so, you know, it's funny how our bodies adapt to stuff like that. Yeah, that's right. You know, you just have to keep an eye on it and all that, you know, so, but yeah, I completely understand that, and I'll try to, I'm going to try to start doing a couple of low carb friendly type stuff and low sugar type sauces and stuff. I need to do some more research on that, but I want to start doing some more of that kind of stuff too with that. But yeah, that Veterans Q, I'm going to check it out and try to put some of that on my channel. How do I know what is a good one? What price per pound is good? Well, Mark, well, the price per pound depends on the first part of your question. Hey, how you doing, Robert? Good to have you, brother. Mark, the second part of your question depends on the first part of the question. The higher quality, obviously, the more expensive it's going to be. Now, I think I've said it in my earlier live streams. I've only cooked one brisket myself, and when I say brisket, I mean the full pack of brisket. I've done corned beef brisket, but that's a little different animal. Now the brisket that I cooked, it was with my brother, and he just happened to have a Snake River Farms brisket that was, I mean, it was probably a $200 brisket, and I'm probably being conservative with that price. But you know, plenty of marbling all the way through it, really tender. Color was good on it. You know, it had some thick fat that we needed to trim off, but it wasn't just super knobs of fat, you know. I mean, I looked at one earlier today at Walmart. My wife and I went over there to get some meat, and you know, they had some over there, but you know, it was a $35 or $40 pack of brisket. You know, obviously it was choice, and you know, and sometimes you can get a good choice brisket if you look at it. And you know, like the one over there, it was just big knobs of huge hard fat, and by the time you get to trimming it off, you know, you're throwing away a lot. You know, you're always going to throw away some, but it just looked like a little too much to me. And then if it turns out to be junk, then you've wasted a lot of time. So for me, I think it's better to get a good quality brisket. You know, you can get them from Walmart or Sam's that are going to be pretty good, but brisket's one of those things, in my opinion, that you're going to get what you pay for. So now, what's a good price? I don't really know. Maybe some of these other guys can help you with that. But you know, I think you're going to get what you pay for. Costco's prime, and see, that's the thing. If you get up to a prime, it doesn't matter where you buy it so much. Prime is going to be prime. Now, there's going to be a lower end and an upper end of the prime, just like there's a lower end and an upper end of the choice. But you know, I bet that prime is pretty good. And we don't have Costco's here, but we got Sam's Club, and we need to get back into that, so you know, I can go check that stuff out a little better. But I just didn't like the ones that was at Walmart earlier today, so I didn't pick one up. But again, I think brisket's one of those things where you spend enough time on it. If you're going to spend that much time on it, you might as well get something that's going to be pretty good, so you're not disappointed in the end. Daniel says $2.99 a pound in Texas. Yeah, the marbling is the key. If there's not much marbling in it, you're probably going to be able to make a pair of boots out of it when you get through with it. But again, you know, it's all in knowing what kind of meat you've got and then how you can cook it, you know. There's always different ways that you can use to make it tender. Yeah, Snake River Farms, the butcher shop in Pensacola, Florida. I was stationed in Pensacola, Florida for a year at the Naval Air Station over there where the Blue Angels are stationed. That was a pretty cool duty station over there. Got to see the Blue Angels practice all the time and all that stuff. That was a pretty cool place. Barracks were unbelievable compared to where I had been before over at Camp Geiger at Camp Lejeune. Awesome, Stephen. That's a cool place. I remember when I was there, one time we did a boots and utes run and our utilities and our boots, and it was some kind of fundraiser, and they asked some of the Marines to come up and run through the streets of Pensacola, you know, and we were in formation, sounding off, you know, singing cadence and all that stuff, and it was pretty cool. It was echoing through the buildings and all that. And I remember when we got through, they told us we could have free beer, and we ran down through the French Quarter. So I'm sure you know where that's at down there, that little French Quarter down in there, and we ended down there, and they said we could have some free beer, and so that was awesome. Russ, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. And Russ he can tell you about that the Lone Star Grills. Russ, we were just talking about what we cooked for Christmas and New Year's. Let us know what you cooked and what you cooked it on. But yeah, that Pensacola, that French Quarter down there was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. I miss that place. Beautiful beaches, man. That sand, that is like white powder. Love that place. And Dan, you're right. I mean, fire management is key to a good brisket. I just wish I had the opportunity to cook more of them. You know, like I said before, you about can't find a good one around here, you know, that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg, just because nobody around here cooks a whole lot of them. Everybody's cooking, you know, chicken and Boston butts and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't think they made any money on that, Mike. I'm pretty sure they lost a little bit on that. I hear you, Russ. I hear you. Y'all spend any time on the boat? How's your son doing on the boat? I kept up with him for a little while, and then I've kind of slipped on keeping up with him. I know he was going to take a long trip, but I hope everything's going well with him. I also got my son well, me and my brother did. My brother had a big hand in it, but we got my son he was cooking on an old griller charcoal grill, and it was an old one at that, and he was struggling with you know, getting good stuff off of it, you know, and man, that's awesome. That'll be awesome. It'll be an awesome environment cooking off that boat too. But my son, he was having issues, you know, cooking good stuff, you know, and he liked to have his buddies over and cook for them and all that stuff. And so me and my brother talked about it, and we got him a pellet smoker for Christmas, a small one. We got him a Pro 22 Traeger, and he's called me once a day. Hey, Dad, quick question. How long do I cook this for? And, hey, Dad, quick question. What kind of rub do I need to put on this? And, hey, Dad, quick question, you know. But I get tickled when he does that. I'm glad he calls me, you know. So he's been enjoying that. He did his first couple of racks of ribs the other day. And I taught him through how to, he just bought spare ribs, which I've always liked spare ribs. But now I've kind of gotten into the baby backs a little bit with my pit barrel cooker, but I still like spare ribs. But he didn't have quite enough room on there for all the racks of ribs, so I told him just St. Louis style cut them. And so he St. Louis styled them and put them on there, cooked them, and you know, we were talking about how you want them done and all that stuff, you know. So y'all let me know how y'all like your ribs done, you know. Do you like them falling apart, or you like them, you know, with a little bite to them? I like them both ways, you know. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll sauce them. Sometimes I like them dry. My brother, he likes them dry. Sometimes I like to sauce them a little bit, you know. So I told Nate, you know, just play with it a little bit. You know, you'll find your style and your way of doing things, you know. I also got my daughter a little charcoal kettle grill, and she cooked her first chicken breast on it the other night. And she's got a ways to go on old fire management, but she enjoyed it, and I was tickled that she got out there and was able to do that. You know, she lives with a couple other girls, and I don't think any of them would think about going out there and starting up a charcoal grill, being able to use a chimney and lighting her own charcoal and that kind of stuff. But I was proud of her. So, you know, it's all about getting your family involved in the cooking in the backyard and all that stuff too. You know, that's what it's all about. And see, just like Steven said about his son doing high school cooking competitions in South Carolina. That'll be awesome. That's awesome. A homemade McRib sandwich. And that'll probably be a big hit too. I bet it will. Russ, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Hey, smoky ribs. Russ, I gotta tell you, you know, when I started my channel, there were several guys that I would watch, and you know, that kind of encouraged me into actually doing a channel, actually breaking down and doing a video. And Russ was one of the first ones that I saw. He seemed like a guy that was kind of like me, you know, that I would invite in my backyard, and you know, down to earth, wasn't gonna shoot you any bull, and so I really appreciate Russ. We've talked on the phone a little bit about this kind of stuff, and he's always been a big help to me anytime I had a question or something. And so, Russ, I appreciate you stopping by. Mike over at Everyday Barbecue, we've talked back and forth. He's been a big help. T-Roy over at T-Roy Cooks, I've always looked up to his channel. James over at Aim 'em and Claim 'em, and Chris over at Mother's Barbecue, man, I love his channel. You know, I think his channel ought to be bigger than it is. He's got some good stuff on his channel. So there's a lot of guys that I looked up to when I was doing my channel. And Russ was one of them. He's a good guy. And he puts out a lot of good product too, man. A lot of good product. What about New Year's resolutions? Anybody got a New Year's resolution? I kind of quit doing that junk because it never stuck. Local Italian sausages. Yeah, my brother, those meatballs that he brought, they were Italian sausage meatballs, and they turned out pretty good. Man, one package of it was, they had some spice to it. What does starting a channel entail? Lots of expensive camera equipment, etc. Robert, I got to be honest with you. I'm filming right now with basically the same setup that I filmed with when I started. And that's an iPhone. That's really no cost because I've already got a phone anyway. Now, when I first started, it was an iPhone 4, but now it's an iPhone 7 Plus. And, you know, I mean, a lot of people graduate to fancier, you know, cameras and lighting. And like I bought a light from Ace Hardware the other day, and I've got it sitting up here on my ceiling fan just to add some light in here. But you can do that, you know, little lighting rigs you can buy off Amazon and stuff like that, and they get bigger microphones, boom microphones and all that stuff, and but I just haven't been able to do that, to be honest with you. I hope once my channel grows a little more, that the little bit of ad money that I get off of my channel, I can start putting back into my channel and put towards a camera or towards a microphone or something like that to make it a little bit better, you know. So as for right now, I just concentrate on the content and try to put out decent content, you know, and hopefully everybody will keep coming back and watching. But as for right now, man, if you've got an iPhone, you can make videos. I mean, that's the bottom line. You know, you want to try to think of ways to get a good shot of this and that, and kind of think about how the people watching your video is going to see, you know, see you cutting vegetables or how you're cutting the meat or how you're putting it on or whatever, you know. And I try to make it a little bit entertaining with, you know, shots of the grills and the smoke coming up and all that stuff. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I like to see anyway. So, you know, that's kind of what I do. But no, it's not expensive to start off with, but it can get more expensive the longer that you go with it. Mike, you didn't have to do that, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, brother. That's right. We got a Bristol trip coming up. And I'm going to live stream some when we go up to Bristol to the NASCAR race. I don't even know what grill I'm going to take yet, but we're going to live stream from up there and do some cooking up there and kind of give some of y'all an insight of what it's like to be up there at Bristol Motor Speedway in April. So just kind of something for y'all to look forward to. Bone-in split turkey breasts. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a ton. I tell you, and this is honest truth, and I've said this before, you know, I don't have a whole lot of subscribers. I think I'm up to about 3,100 or so, knocking on 3,200. But again, I never thought I'd get 30. So, Justin, thank you, man. Man, I appreciate that. guys. But the subscribers that I do have are some of the best that anybody's got on YouTube. And I mean that, because y'all keep coming back, and y'all are always engaged, and I appreciate that. That means the world to me. So thank y'all. So laid back. If people only knew, I bet if you asked my wife about me being laid back, she'd give you a different answer. But you know, that's another thing that I like about this, is it gives me an outlet to just talk and that kind of stuff. John, I appreciate you, and I completely understand that, man. Thank you a bunch. You being here's enough. But you know, throughout the day, most of the time, I don't, and it's odd that I'm actually doing a YouTube channel. Most people that I tell I've got a YouTube channel, they don't even believe it. Because I can go all day long without speaking to another human being. At work, doesn't really matter. I'm just, you know, I'm always the same. Maybe it was a Marine Corps, I don't know. But I've always got the same expression, whether I'm happy as hell or whether I'm mad as fire. Nobody can ever know, because I've always got the same expression on my face. And if I'm joking and being sarcastic, people don't really know whether I'm being sarcastic or whether I'm being serious, so they don't know whether to laugh or, you know, turn the other way. I'm just not a people person most of the time, unless I'm around people that I relate to, which is all of you guys. So I appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, my wife, yes. Mike, I'm glad you asked that. You know, my wife has been a huge help. I really couldn't do the channel without her. She has helped me a ton, you know, especially over the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. She's really gotten more involved with filming, helping me film. And that's the biggest thing about having a channel is, you know, say I set the camera up, just like you are right here. I get the camera set up and I come over here, and I'm a little anal about it, you know, like that flag behind me. I got to make sure that the top of my camera is level with the stripes on the flag and all that crap, you know. So it'll take me 10 minutes to get that set up, and then to start the video. But then when I finish the scene, then I've got to stop, you know. If I've got stuff on my hands, I got to take the gloves off, go over there, move the camera outside to the grill, hook my microphone up, you know, all that stuff, look at it, make sure I got everything set up right, go over there, hit record, come back, stand, and then start, and then end it, and then go over there and stop it, and, you know, that whole deal. Well, now if my wife is helping me, man, you talking about making it so much easier, it's not even funny. You know, she can come in, come out, you know, get a close up and all that stuff, and she does a really good job with it. So yeah, you know, shout out to her, and I appreciate her for helping me with all that stuff. Let me get a couple of these questions in here. Again, if you just popped up, I appreciate y'all being here. Have I tried the griddle hack? What's the griddle hack, Matthew? Let me in on it. You can't be holding secrets like that. Yeah, the Marine Corps. Man, I'm gonna tell you, my brother, when he came over here for New Year's, he said he was getting, you know, all of his stuff together, getting his coolers up together and all that stuff, and he was out under the carport in his garage, and his wife overheard him out there yelling and screaming about something, and she thought something was wrong and came out there, and he said, no, it's all right. I was just, you know, reciting his general orders from boot camp, you know. And I mean, it doesn't matter how long you've been out, the Marine Corps is always going to stay there with you no matter what you do. I'll do that, Mike. I appreciate that. A griddle pizza oven insert. Oh yeah. I haven't tried that, but I had wanted to try it, Matthew, and then I started doing the keto stuff and tried to cut out bread, and so I just never got into it because of that. And I don't care what anybody says, a cauliflower crusted pizza just ain't gonna be the same as a good pizza crust. So I haven't gotten into it, but I bet it does work great. I bet it does. There's a lot of things that I would still like to try, with different gadgets and that kind of thing on my grills. I'll tell you what's funny too. Like I said, I did 2 Boston butts on New Year's. One on the pellet smoker, one on the pit barrel cooker. And I've done kind of dual cooks before. I think I did one with the pellet smoker and the Weber kettle. But both of them turned out great. But there were some differences. I had both of them. Now I had the Silverbac running at 275. And I think I don't have a temp gauge on my pit barrel cooker, so I'm not sure, but it's supposed to run around 275 to 300, it's somewhere around there. But the Boston butt, both of them were about 8.5 pounds. The Boston butt on the Silverbac got done quickest, and I didn't wrap it. Now I had to wrap the one on the pit barrel cooker after a while. After about 6 hours, I went ahead and wrapped it. And got it finished off. So after we got it, cooled down and saw the finished product, there were some differences. The one on the Silverbac was more tender, even though I didn't wrap it. But the one on the pit barrel cooker had a more smoked flavor. Now, the pit barrel cooker, I put a couple of chunks of hickory down in there. And my brother gave me some bourbon-infused black cherry chunks of wood. And I put those down in there too. But the smoke from the pit barrel cooker, there was a more pronounced smoke flavor, and the smoke ring was really deep red and thick. And it had a better crust on the outside. But the one off the Silverbac was more tender and more juicy. So, those good points to both of them. Neither one of them would I have thrown in the trash, and I didn't, by the way. They were both really good. So again, you got to find out. And that's one reason why it's good to have a couple of grills if you can afford to have a couple of grills, To meet everybody's taste buds. Everything tastes a little bit different. So, but that was a pretty cool deal. I love salmon. Salmon is awesome. Matter of fact, I bought a salmon fillet today. I'm going to do in a couple of days. I love salmon. That was a Boston butt that we did this weekend. Brisket would be good on the pit barrel too. A keto series. I kind of have. Really, there's a lot of folks that have just nothing but a keto channel. And they are doing lights out with it because it's just such a trend right now, and especially probably since the new year, everybody's probably starting it right now, so it probably would be pretty good. But I've just got to get some more recipes and convert those over to things that I can do on a smoker, because most everybody does that stuff in the oven. But I think that would be pretty interesting. But a lot of the stuff that I'm already doing is easily converted to keto, because the stuff that, except for the sauces and glazes and stuff like that. And really some of the rubs have a lot of sugar in them. But, you know, other than that, the meat itself, you know, like I did a keto chili a while back on the Watchman Stove, and that turned out really good. I've done it one more time since then. But I'll think some more about that and maybe try to start incorporating a little more of that into it. What's the difference in doing a butt at 225 versus 275? Number one, it depends on what you're cooking it on. If you're cooking it on a pellet smoker, there's not going to be that much difference. And it depends on what kind of pellets you're using. If you were using, say, a mesquite that's really strong, you might be able to tell a little bit of difference. But if you're using something like oak or hickory or pecan or something like that, you're really not going to be able to tell any difference, not much, except you're going to have a few more drinks or a few more cold ones between the time you start it and the time you get done. Usually that's my excuse for cooking it at a lower temperature. Now if you're going to do, say, a stick burner, or even even a pit barrel, which pit barrel is a little bit different because, you know, you're not really controlling up or down the temp a whole lot. I'll talk about that in a minute. But say a stick burner, you could have a lot bigger smoke flavor, you know, and so you got to be careful about that because some people like a heavy smoke flavor. Some people just want a kiss of smoke, and some people want it somewhere in between. And so that's one of the things is it's going to get done quicker. You're probably going to develop a little bit more of a bark on the outside at 275 versus 225. But with 225, it's going to smoke a little bit longer and probably get a little bit more pronounced smoke. So it kind of depends on using silverback with hickory. It's not going to matter. I mean, it's really not. That's my experience. For me, on that silverback, really any pellet smoker that I've used so far, what determines whether I'm going to do it at 225 or 275 is how long I want to be out there. If I'm just relaxing and chilling and want to dip into the cooler a little bit, I'll put it on 225. If I got company coming over and I want it done at a certain time, then I'll kick it up to 275. But as far as flavor goes, nobody's going to be able to come up and say, you cooked that at 225 today, didn't you? Nobody's going to be able to say that. So that's not really going to matter. Thanks, Phil. I appreciate that. Steven, man, I appreciate that. Y'all don't have to do that now. I think y'all know me well enough to know by now, though, that that's not why I say those things. And I didn't expect anybody to do that. I appreciate that. Silverback versus a Traeger. I was wondering how long it was going to take that to come up. You know, probably before long, I'm going to have a Traeger Pro 34. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm probably going to have a Pro 34 here pretty soon, next couple weeks to play with and all that. And that's a grill that's really comparable to the Silverbac as far as Traegers go anyway. And I may do a comparison of those. And so there's a lot of things that goes on with the Silverbac, the Grilla Grills Silverbac versus the Traeger that goes into that comparison. First of all, you got to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. Now, you know, as most of y'all know, my brother, he works for Traeger. So, but then, you know, I went out and bought a Grilla Grills Silverbac, and that was before he started working for Traeger. But I don't regret that choice, that decision at all. Y'all still there? Yeah. I had a notification that said my battery was going dead on my phone. But anyway, long story short, I just want to throw that out there that my brother does work for Traeger. But there's a lot of different Traeger models out there. In my opinion, way too many models. I think it hurts Traeger's sales a lot because, you know, you can have a Elite series right here and you can have a Pro series here. You know, the Elite series is $200 less than the Pro series, but they're exact same size, etc., but a different controller on the cheaper one. You got a Pro controller on this one. You know, in my opinion, that doesn't make sense to me. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that, man. I'll do it, Stephen. I'll do it. I'm gonna make a note. So first of all, you got to compare apples to apples. If you buy a Traeger from Costco or somewhere like that, like we were talking about briskets, you're gonna get what you pay for. And a lot of the Traegers that are in Costco's and those kinds of things are not the Pro Series grills. They're not the premium Traegers that you can go buy. And that's to me, that hurts their brand a little bit because, you know, a lot of problems that people are having with a Traeger is because they bought it from a Costco. Nobody explained to them about how to take care of it, so on and so forth. They just go home, fire it up, they never clean it out, then they have problems, and now the Traeger sucks and all that stuff. And that's not the case. You know, they make good grills. There's just a lot of misinformation out there, and people are buying them from places like Costco thinking that well, a Traeger's a Traeger. Well, it's not. You go on their website and just search grills and look at how many different types of grills they have that are exactly the same size, and then you start swimming. Well, why would I buy this one instead of this one? They're the same size and all that stuff. So, long story short, if I compare a Pro 34 Traeger to a Grilla Silverbac, and I'll compare it to mine, but I'm going to compare it the way I got it, which was before I had the Pro cart, the competition cart. It was just on that cabinet. To me, that sawhorse design that the Pro 34 has is way more stable than the Silverbac cabinet. The grill itself, now the Silverbac comes all stainless steel inside. The Pro 34 doesn't. And I would have to look. I'll try to look right here real quick. But I think the Silverbac now is $749, and that is shipped straight to your door, and that's with the stainless steel internals. So your fire pot, your flame deflector, and your grease pan and all that stuff is stainless steel now. The Pro 34, I'm looking it up right here for you, is $9.99. And I think they're about the same size as far as square inches. I'm trying to look real quick, trying not to bore y'all to death. 884 square inches, and that's the total cooking capacity. I think what the Silverbac has 887 with the dual rack system on top with the second shelf. So I think the lid on that Silverbac is a little bit thicker, and you got the double wall construction of the Silverbac. So you got, you know, I mean, you do the math. $750 versus $9.99. You know, it is what it is. Um, do both of them cook great? Both of them cook great. That ironwood out there, I got a Traeger Tailgater. Both of them cook great. Grilla Silverbac cooks great. Just depends on how much money you want to spend and, you know, what the features are. So I think you can kind of read in between the lines on all that. With that being said, and the name does have a lot to do with the price. You know, and they were the first one to really come out with a pellet smoker. Traeger was, you know. They've been around a while. I just think the number of model numbers that they have hurts them sometimes, you know. But let me say this: would I buy a Traeger? Yeah, I'd buy a Traeger. Are there pellet smokers out there that I wouldn't buy? Yes. And the day before my Silverbac got to my house, I went right down the street down here. I've already told this story on one of my videos, and looked at another brand of pellet smoker that's in the pool supply place right down here. And when I picked it up and it rattled like a tin can, and I felt it and all that, I was scared to death, because $700 is a lot of money to anybody. And I thought, I just paid $700 for a tin can. And I was so happy when I got that Silverbac and opened it up and felt the quality of it. You know, praise the Lord. I mean, I was doing a dance back there in the backyard. I was tickled to death. And so, you know, I think Camp Chef makes a pretty good pellet smoker. Traeger makes a good one. You know, I think Rectech makes a good pellet smoker. I just, I mean, I love my Silverbac. Love it. When I was doing research, I was researching Rectech, you know, and all that. I didn't get a welcoming feel from those guys, you know. And, you know, Augusta is only 2 hours from me. You know, it would have been easy for me to purchase something that's so close here, but I don't know if arrogance is the word, but they just came off like used car salesmen to me. That's just my opinion. You know, I don't know the guys or anything else. But I just felt like I was getting a good relationship was built with Mark and those guys over at Grilla Grills when I purchased that grill. And so I felt really good about that. And that means, to me, that's part of the price that you're paying for the grill, is that relationship, knowing that if something does happen, that they're going to have your back, and they're not going to say, no, that's your fault and all that stuff, you know. I've never had that experience with Grilla Grills. So that YS640, that YS480, any of those Yoders are awesome grills. Now, Stephen, how do you like the Rectech platform and all that, the controller and all that stuff? I mean, how do you like, you know, the operation of it? Because I've never really dealt with one personally. I don't know about the bullhorns. John, I appreciate that. And, you know, it's funny that you don't really see a whole lot of those reviews, you know, for for anybody else, you know, other brands and all that. You know, you would think they would want to get those out there, but you really don't see them as much. And, you know, especially with Grilla and like RecTech, you know, being online, there's no other way that you can get an experience of what the grill is like if those kinds of videos aren't out there, which is why I wanted to do those, because otherwise you're just taking a leap of faith, which is what I did. I took a leap of faith, and luckily it worked out. But I would, you know, since I have this channel, I'd like to put it out there a little bit more so that, you know, people are a little bit more informed before they dish out that money, you know, for a grill. And again, if you don't see it on my channel, it's either because A, I don't have one, or B, I had one, tried it, and it sucked, and I don't want to even put it on here. So, barbecue show. Gotcha. Yeah. And they're starting to, you know, reach out a little more and stuff like that, which is good for the brand and all of that, you know. So I wish I could get into something like that. That would be really enjoyable, I think. But until then, I am where I am, you know. John, I appreciate that, and I appreciate y'all, you know, tuning into my videos. You know, it's funny because every time I do a video, it's like the first time I did my first video. I wonder, you know, am I going to post this thing? Is it, you know, is anybody going to click on it, you know? And I'm always relieved after the first couple people, you know, click on it. So I appreciate you guys a bunch. Appreciate that, Rick. You've been hanging in there a long time, man. Have I been contacted by Grilla to say thanks for the good press? Yeah. You know, Mark has contacted me a couple times. I was a member of their Facebook group for a while. I'm not anymore, but, you know, and he said some nice things about me on there. And as a matter of fact, the front shelf that I've got on my Silverbac, he did the engraving on that for me on that shelf and stuff like that. Just appreciation for, you know, my videos and stuff. And so yeah, we've had a good relationship with that, you know. But again, I've never been paid by Grilla to say anything about their products. I just feel like today there's so much junk out there as far as products go that when I do find a good product, I'd rather tell somebody about that so that they can make a better decision with their money and where it's going, you know. And hopefully I can do the same, you know, people can do the same for me. So that's how I want to do that. A Grilla ambassador, that would be awesome. I'd love to do that, you know. I you know, pit barrel cooker, you know, they sent me up that pit barrel cooker, and I've kind of, and man, they sent me a knife set for Christmas. Didn't expect it at all. A really nice pit barrel cooker knife set. Beautiful knife, and like a meat fork set. Beautiful, man. Those folks over at Pit Barrel Cooker are awesome people, and that's the kind of people I like being associated with, you know. I got you, Stephen. I appreciate you letting us know that. Now, do you use the same pellets in all of your pellet smokers, or do you use brand specific pellets in those? Stephen, you want to start you a channel, or you want to be an ambassador for folks? What would I name it? I'd name it Rick. Rick, that's what I would name it. That's exactly what I would name it. Yeah, I'm down to about 9%, so that's going to probably cut it short. God bless you, man. I appreciate you joining us. What pellets do I like brand-wise? Matthew says Lumberjack Char Hickory. I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those guys that if I find something I like, I stick with it. You know, I've got a brand of shorts back there, khaki shorts. I've got about 4 pair of them, and I've had them about 8 years. I've already worn pockets down there around the holes down there around the pocket and everything, and I just can't throw them away. Hats, same thing. I find a hat that I like, style that I like, I stick with it. Pellets are the same way. For the longest time, I ordered just Grilla Grill pellets. I'm a big fan of that competition blend Grilla Grill pellet. But, you know, I also use Traeger pellets. And every now and then I get a little help from my brother with Traeger pellets and stuff like that. I've never had an issue with Traeger pellets. Not one time. But it could be because I always clean my grill out and I always maintain my grill like I'm supposed to. The only other brand that I have tried is, I tried a Lumberjack brand, and they were good. Smoke flavor was good and all that, but what I did find is when I cleaned my grill out, the Lumberjack pellets left almost twice as much ash in the bottom and in my fire pot as Grilla Grill or Traeger pellets did. And that kind of concerned me a little bit from a flame out standpoint. You know, if that ash builds up in that fire pot too much and restricts that air, you're going to have a flame out or you're going to have some problems. And I just didn't really like that, so I just hadn't tried those anymore. So I just either stick with Grilla Grill or Traeger pellets. I mean, that's just what I do. Would I try another brand? I'd probably try, you know, I've been curious about the smoke ring pellets, B&B pellets. My brother tells me B&B pellets are pretty good. But I'm just, you know, when I find something, I like sticking with it. So that's just what I do. Appreciate you, Justin. Thank you. Barbecue is delight. Rick, that's a good point. Before Grilla Grill came out with their brand of pellets, Barbecue is Delight, they sold Barbecue is Delight brand, and that's what got me started with that. Barbecue is Delight's great pellets. And then when Grilla Grill got their own brand, then I switched over to that because 2 bags and it's free shipping and, you know, it's easy and straight to your door. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Well, guys, I'm down to about 7% on the old phone right here, so I'm going to have to call it a night too. I appreciate everybody that chimed in tonight. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for you showing up. Thank you for watching my videos and allowing me to do this channel. Because if it wasn't for you, then I wouldn't be doing it. So, again, thank you. I'll see you next week. If you have any questions that you'd like me for me to answer anything, just put them down there in the bottom, and I'll write them down and get to them. So everybody, I hope you have a good week. And until next time, I'll be piddling.